Have you ever let a moment of anger get the best of you? Said something you instantly regretted? We all have. But what happens when the person who loses control is the most powerful man in the world? What happens when a split second of rage threatens to unravel an entire empire? Today, we're diving into a story that proves even the greatest among us can be brought low by a single impulsive act. This is the tragic tale of Alexander the Great and the friend he sacrificed to his own pride. Our story begins not on a battlefield, but at a banquet. The year is 328 BCE. Alexander, not yet 30 years old, has conquered a staggering portion of the known world. He's the student of Aristotle, the king of Macedon, a military genius whose ambition seems limitless. His empire stretches from the shores of Greece all the way to the edges of India. Tonight, he's celebrating another victory in the distant land of Sogdiana, surrounded by his most trusted generals, the men who have fought and bled alongside him. The mood should be triumphant, but under the surface, tensions are simmering. Among the guests is a man named Clytus the Black. Clytus isn't just any general. He's a lifelong friend, a man who literally saved Alexander's life in the heat of battle years earlier. He's old-school Macedonian, fiercely loyal, but also brutally honest. As the night wears on and the wine flows freely, the conversation turns to Alexander's recent adoption of Persian customs and his growing claims of divinity. Flatterers and sycophants praise him, comparing him to gods and heroes. But Clytus has had enough. He stands up, his voice cutting through the fawning praise. He criticizes Alexander, reminding him that his victories were won by the sweat and blood of Macedonian soldiers, not by divine right. He mocks the king for disowning his own father, Philip II, in favor of being called the son of a god. He questions Alexander's judgment, his leadership, everything. To Clytus, Alexander is forgetting who he is and where he came from. To Alexander, this isn't just criticism, it's a public betrayal. It's an attack on his authority, his legacy, and his very identity. In that moment, something inside Alexander snaps. The years of friendship, the shared battles, the life debt he owed Clytus, it all vanishes, consumed by a blinding wave of fury and wounded pride. His advisors try to hold him back, to de-escalate the situation, but it's too late. Impulse has overthrown reason. Alexander grabs a spear from one of his guards. With a single, devastating thrust, he strikes down Clytus, the man who was once his closest ally. Silence falls over the hall. The horror of what just happened begins to sink in. Alexander's rage instantly evaporates, replaced by an overwhelming tide of grief and regret. He collapses over his friend's body, wailing, trying to turn the spear on himself. His guards have to physically restrain him from taking his own life. For 3 days, he locks himself away, refusing to eat or drink, consumed by guilt. He had conquered cities and defeated armies, but he couldn't conquer his own temper. That single act of rage, lasting only a few seconds, sent shockwaves through his entire empire. The trust that had bound his army together was fractured. His generals and soldiers, who had once followed him with unwavering loyalty, now looked at him with a mix of fear and doubt. They saw a king who was no longer guided by strategy and wisdom, but by volatile, unpredictable emotions. Power, they realized, is incredibly fragile when the one who wields it is a slave to his own passions. Respect and loyalty can't be demanded at the point of a spear. They have to be earned and carefully preserved. A few years later, Alexander the Great would be dead, and the vast, magnificent empire he had built with his ambition and vision. It didn't survive him. It shattered almost immediately, torn apart by the very same generals who had once fought united under his banner. The bonds of loyalty had already been broken long before his death, in that feasting hall in Sogdiana. A conqueror who ruled the world was ultimately undone by a single uncontrolled moment of pride and fury. The story of Alexander and Clytus is a timeless warning. It reminds us that no matter how powerful, successful, or brilliant we are all vulnerable to our own emotions. The greatest battles are often not fought against external enemies, but against the anger and pride within our own hearts. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the past. If you found this story as fascinating as we did and want to explore more of history's most powerful lessons, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We have so many more stories to share with you. See you next time.